Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wyoming Classic 2022, Round 1, Part 1. Alongside me is the lovely Ratana Meekham.
AKA Jimmy.
And I don't know if I said it, I am Eagle McMahon, and I am excited to watch some disc golf. So this is the round we're going to be covering today. We have Shad Green. I already hear that this round's pretty crazy in terms of wind, so I'm looking forward to watching this. We have Delamere, which I've actually played with him a few times. He lived in Boulder for a while. And then up next, we have Tyler Trefethen. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but I might have said something. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to see that. But, oh my goodness. This is going to be a fun one to watch. All right, hole one, we got a par 3, 257 feet. And I've never played this course up in Wyoming. So all these holes, I will just be saying what I see. Shad stepping up, throwing a forehand. Looks like that got away from him, turned over. Didn't throw in the water, so I imagine he's safe. Calvin. Should we call him the new Vinny? Or the new Vinny? Yeah, this is good. Oh, this is This is one of those rounds. You just have no idea what is going to happen at any time.
So Calvin just went OB.
I actually I've met Tyler before on one of the previous Shy Ride coverages. I played the Hall of Fame championships at Little America, and Tyler actually got second. So he's a shredder. I think he shot like 5 or 7 down. Oh, this is crazy. No way.
Such bad luck for Chad. Wow.
That is... shout out to Dale. He's providing me some really great entertainment.
Oh, no.
This is going to be a fun one to watch, but I can't imagine what it was like playing out there. When you're in conditions like these, it's really about rolling the dice. Like, you can give yourself a good chance at, getting pars if you're very deliberate and you're throwing the most overstable disc, but you really have to know the wind. It looks like Tyler here is throwing he threw like a thumber grip forehand, just sliding it up there, and honestly, that's a really great play.
In these conditions.
I mean, a 257-foot hole is giving all these guys who are all, good players in their own right the time of their lives. And look at that. Shad looks like he has some experience in the wind. He jammed it in there, upside down putt. The logic behind that is, you're not going to get any wind underneath the disc if you're throwing with the flight plate down. When you're throwing a disc normal, there's a lot of area underneath the disc to expose to the wind. All right. Good par by Tyler. That was a tough one. All right, now moving on to hole number 2. 354 feet. It's par 3. Tyler's lining up a forehand, maybe a halo destroyer of sorts. It's a very popular disc nowadays. A very good mold. If you throw that, it's a good shot there. He'll be a little bit short. I'll be surprised if he gives it any sort of run. Shad throwing the forehand again, and this one's looks like going somewhere not towards the basket. Everyone's opting for the forehand, and
This
needs to get down.
stay in.
Tough break there by Calvin. And I really can't comment on the wind direction. If I had to guess, it seems to be a right to left wind, which is kind of ironic because Calvin threw it out of bounds right, but sometimes you're overcompensating.
Whoa.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely a right to left wind from the tee pad because he was throwing into pretty much a straight headwind there, trying to get it to sit down. And anytime a disc sits, that is good today because in conditions like these, if you expose any bit of the disc or hits with any bit of angle, it just wants to be pushed. And this little putt right here is, you got to throw a spin putt, and that's so difficult because, you're trying to throw a spin putt, and no knock on these baskets, but these are a Mach 3 to Mach 5 of sorts, and with this wind, if you're trying to jam in a putt, there's not going to be a whole lot of stability in those chains. Because if you look in the background of those trees blowing, it's going to want to rip the disc out of the basket. And that goes for most baskets in conditions like this. Yeah, it's so difficult. Pretty much on all these holes, you can just add one to the par. So par 3, a four is almost good. Pars are like birdies. And it looks cold too. That's another condition that makes everything a lot more difficult.
Moving on to hole 3, par 3, 251 feet.
Seems to be we got another forehand style shape, backhand turnover.
Look at his pants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, trying to get a gauge on what the wind direction is. It could be a bit of a tail. Yeah, it's definitely a tailwind. The discs are getting extremely pushed down, but that's a great shot. The good news is the tailwind benefited him there, but he's going to have a ripping headwind. So in windy conditions like these, you really want to be trying to pick your landing zones. Like Calvin actually did a really good job there of trying to throw short. Unfortunately, got an unfortunate roll that he's going to be having to fight the headwind. But, there's no knock on these shots. Great shots in these conditions. And it's just so frustrating. Like, with short putts like these, you think it's just right there for the taking, but it's a whole different mindset on a day like this. And these short putts, like, I'm always under the mentality that you should never take a short putt for granted anyway, but you definitely want to give it your best shot and get an idea of what the wind's doing for, pretty much, putts from 5 feet even, because if you don't put it in the basket on the right angle, then it can get blown right back out. Hole 4, par 3, 410 feet. I'm looking at hole 3, and I remember there being a tailwind. So for this one, it seems like they're going to have a right to left wind. Let's see if that's the right thing, the right guess. And all these guys have no problem getting there. Yeah, definitely a right to left wind. That's getting carried left. So if you want to ride the hyzer, it seems like you're going to have to throw it lower or play it even wider. Yep, that I don't know where the basket is, but it seems like that carried a long ways to the left. And Calvin, oh, it's such a fine line. See, when you're throwing into a right to left wind, if you throw any bit of anhyzer, that the angle is going to get pushed down. But you want to throw an anhyzer to fight the wind, but you know, if you think about it, if you're throwing into a 40 mile per hour right to left wind, the wind doesn't care about your 175 gram disc. It's just going to slap it straight down. So, you know, throwing a disc that can fight the wind, you know, some say the tilt is not a great disc, but in a day like today, it could be very beneficial at times. And Shad just didn't get it where he wanted to. There's a good shot. Tyler?
That was a smart play by Tyler. Good bid.
Good bid by Calvin. Good spinner by Shad. The strokes just add up so quick.
Mm-hmm. That's why in the wind it's better to play for par than anything.
But Tyler's hanging in there pretty good right now. Now on to hole 5, 286 feet. Going to have a similar wind to the previous hole. Tyler will be opting to fight the wind.
Oh, it looks like it got away.
It got away. And that's a forehand distance record right there. Oh my goodness.
OB over the fence?
That is... Oh my god. This is... You know, I'll probably say it throughout the round, but this is... This was one for the record books, I would say. I like the forehand. I like that they're fighting the wind. But if your angle is wrong and your disc is not overstable enough, then that's what's going to happen. It's going to turn over, and what was once came from a good place, you're probably thinking you wish you threw a backhand there because it would have slapped down and you would have not been OB.
Oh no. Where's that going? Okay. Stayed in.
And what's only a 286-foot hole? These guys are throwing pretty hard shots on their second. Tomahawk from Shad. It's I don't even really know what to say at this point. It's so hard to navigate these conditions. Really, it's really about going low.
I agree.
Staying low, and that's a challenge. And like even that just wants to fly away.
Oh, good putt.
Great putt for triple bogey by Kelman. wonder what he's putting with. I probably imagine an overstable approach disc of sorts. Yeah,
A zone.
I can think that's a zone for sure. And that's a good technique in the wind. Trying to if you guys are like a push putter or putt from, let's say, underneath your waist, it's good to bring it more compact and try to spin it from your chest, because one, it's going to be able to fight the wind better, but also that stroke, you're not going to have as much effect by the wind, just because you're keeping the disc level throughout the entirety of your throw. So a short snap for a spin putt in the wind is a good thing to adapt and learn.
But especially in a headwind, it might be better to throw something like an overstable putter when you're putting into a headwind.
A 311-foot par 3. Seems to be a forehand. Hill plays well for it, and wind just took that one. Tyler has a potential opportunity. Calvin back into a headwind and
drop. Oh.
And then he's climbing the hill.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard of anyone rolling up a hill. Look at those chains blowing.
Seems like a right to left one. Oh, good putt.
I think that's the putt we saw in the intro. It came up, blowed up in the high part of the chains, and somehow stayed in the basket. I'm pretty impressed with Tyler. He's doing all that he can right now and making good decisions. And that was an upside down putt that was just lifting. And Calvin is he's having quite the tough day here. Good 3 by Shad. When I watch this almost makes me question, what are some of the rules in the PDGA? Because what if your disc stays in the basket for, say, 10 seconds and then blows out? Like, is there a certain amount of time before it counts? I don't know. Because in a condition like this, that's a legitimate concern.
Yeah.
On the hole 7, par 3, 329 feet. Shad throwing first. And at last, there's a somewhat favorable wind. You can see that, and it's still going. And that's the problem.
Wow.
You just can't do anything about that.
I'm pretty sure he sat down like 5 times, but then got back up.
It's just poor luck. You have to be... This is a chess match today. You really have to know your places and know how your disc is going to react on the ground. Because right there, see, a little bit of lucky. You might have caught a little bit of refuge from the elevation there, blocking some of the wind. This looks really good from Calvin. Oh, that was a great ace run. Probably about 80 to 90 past now, though.
Is this it?
Some people are probably watching from Midwest, Southern United States, West Coast. And if you haven't played in Wyoming, Colorado, Kansas, even Oklahoma and Texas, the wind is absolutely brutal in those states. You really can't do much about it. Very overstable discs, but it does teach you a lot. It teaches you what discs do, and it teaches you how important overstable discs can be. Even discs, like I was saying earlier, the tilt, the splice, all of which are, a lot of players can't find use for them, but anyone can find a use for it in a condition like these if you know how to shape the shot. Tyler's hanging in there pretty good. So is Shad. On to hole number 8. Par 3, 318 feet. Tyler throwing a very overstable disc. Threw that with Anheuser out of his hand.
And it's looking really good.
That is a very substantially overstable disc, especially what I'm seeing to be a right to left wind. And these are fighting pretty well. That's going to roll up the hill. Keep on rolling towards the basket.
Had a lot of skip play.
A lot of speed on that one. Everyone's got an opportunity, and Calvin just opting
he
for the
seems
big.
really
Yeah,
happy about
he's excited for a par.
See, a par feels like a birdie in these conditions.
And while these were good shots, it's just so difficult when you're putting back into the headwind. Ideally, you almost want to play short just so you can give yourself a chance with the tailwind, and just that things can go awry very quick if you're having to putt back into a headwind, because it is it can be such a issue because it's so unpredictable, especially at wind speeds 30, 40 miles per hour, which these guys are playing in. Just a short, quick jab. Good par by Shad. All right, now we're going to be moving on to hole number 9, which is going to be our final hole of the front 9. And it is 204 feet, par 3. Hopefully these guys can maybe get a birdie and erase one of their bogey strokes. A short 204-foot hole that's just a wall, essentially, with the headwind. Mother Nature can't give these guys a break right now. Calm conditions, people are throwing their favorite approach disc putter and probably getting this 90% of the time. Today it's probably one of the tougher holes, I'd imagine. But pars are good. Potentially the first star par of the round. That can sit down. I think it's looking good for our card here. right, Chad. Here we go. Fantastic. Well, everyone, that was the front nine of the 2022 Wyoming Classic. We'll be back for part 2, and I don't think you're going to miss this. This is going to be one for the record books. It already is, and yeah, this will be some inspiration to go get some overstable discs for you guys. All right, guys, catch you on the back nine.
Peace.